everybody. Welcome to our first Bounce Cast. Me and Mike Parks over there in the other window. We're going to be doing some interviews and talking to some people just for fun because we're sitting on our butts at home doing nothing right now and can't wait to get out and get playing again. But we figured one of the things that we miss is sitting in the car and sitting around waiting to play because we are a hurry up and wait organization. And we usually tell a lot of stories, and we decided to invite two of our better storytellers on for our first episode. You'll notice up there in the top window, Mr. Alan Brantley. He's our sound man. A little bit of history on him. He's been with a holiday band. He's been with Hip Pocket. He's now with Bounce Party Band. Up in the other window, Mr. Barry Herndon, which is our East Coast agent. Say hello, Barry. He's in this with us as we ride this through, and we're getting ready. Now, don't worry. I mean, when the lid comes off of this thing, we're going to throw parties like you've never seen before. And we're ready to go. We're ready to go as much as we can go as soon as that doorway opens. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Mike say hello to everybody, and then we're going to get into some of these stories.
All right. Well, it's a good thing we're doing this today because I've been looking forward to doing something like that. I thought it was a good idea to get together and everyone have a chance to actually vocalize, opinionate on what's been going on in the music business and with the bands and what's going on the circuit and everything. And it's good to see Barry and Alan, two gentlemen that know so much about what's going on and have so much insight, so much knowledge, so much history in the business, as well as Mike, who spends a lot of time researching and trying to figure out the best ways to get things going.
At least I tell you that.
Yeah, well, at least he says it. But yeah, it's good. Hi to everyone out there that tunes in and cares to give us a listen. We really appreciate you guys. We thank you for all the fans. Thank you for all the people that care to come out and see us and all the other bands and support those as they do the things they do. We really appreciate it. I guess we can get started. I guess, Mike, if you have anything that you want to ask Alan or Barry, to feel free.
Well, I'm just going to have Alan just jump right on in with the gum story because, like I said, it's one of my favorites, and it says a lot about what, we all know. We're on the road. We've about seen or experienced everything there is in all variations. And we're not going to name names. We're not going to name clubs. We're not going to name owners. We're going to talk in big picture because we just want to tell the fun parts of them. We go back and we laugh at these stories ourselves now because we're not dealing with it at the moment. We've come a long way and we don't have to deal with that, but every band understands this sort of pain of being in that situation of either not getting paid or getting paid less or getting paid different or and I have a story I'm going to share about that as well. But Alan, I want you to jump in with this gum story. Like I said, my favorite.
It's got to be one of the all-time top stories in the band business. We were scheduled to play a job on a Wednesday night, and it was a place that they did Wednesday night beach bands way back in my holiday days. And it was during December. And I called and I asked to get out of the job because the night before there was a big Christmas party in town. And I knew that nobody would probably come and see the band. And the promoter said, "Oh, no, you're not on the Christmas party. Come play for us." So I go. So we show up. We set up and 10 people show up. And
all been there.
As the night goes along, come to find out East Carolina is playing on a bowl game. So 8 of the 10 people were in the room watching the football game. So I just walked out to the 2 people that were sitting out there. We already played like a set and a half. And I said, "What would you like to hear? We'll play anything you want to hear, and I'm going to give you your money back, but we're going home." And they said, "We're happy. Y'all go ahead." So we stopped, packed up, and I went out. And I did ask before we ever got to where we were going that we had to be paid in full. So I go out and I asked to get paid. And the promoter said, "Well, I didn't make any money." I said, "Not my problem." I said, "I tried to get out of the date and he wouldn't let me out." And he said, "Here you go." And he handed me 6 packs of juicy fruit chewing gum. So I walked back into the dressing room and I said, "Guys, I got paid tonight." And I walked around, handed each one of them a pack of juicy fruit chewing gum. That was
Now
it.
everybody in the band got a whole pack. At least you got one whole pack, not a stick. 'Cause I thought it was a stick of
Well,
gum. So
luckily,
you got a
we
whole
all got
pack of gum.
Whole pack of gum. Yes, got a whole pack of.
That's a
Juicy
little
Fruit Chewing.
better.
Well, that's like what, 5 sticks?
Well, it's better than one. It gets
Well,
you home on the ride. Because what'd you drive? An hour and a half, 2 hours to get there?
2.5 set up, play, tore down, 2.5
There you
back
go.
home.
That's a stick of gum every 30 minutes. That's not awful.
Hey,
Did they feed you at least?
That was, huh?
Did they feed you?
They did not feed me.
They did not feed you.
No.
There you go. See, that's why I tell my guys now, I said, y'all got it good now. I said, y'all got it real good now compared. It's, you know, we paid our dues. It's much better. Even one place, we always say that we know what we talk about. But, you know, I'll let Barry come in now because that's always his means. Do you want to play or do you want to eat? So I agree. We want to play. That's number one.
Well, years ago, we didn't get fed at gigs. I don't know who started that crap, but back during the old days in the 80s, we never got fed. We always had to go somewhere to eat when we got to the gig. But
well, if he had anything to do with it, it was my drummer, Jared.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Well,
because Jared's going to eat.
Jared's going to eat.
Years ago, maybe about 1989, 1990, said band I was in from way back, full-time band, was playing a job up in the mountains at a country club. The country club had a bunch of balloons and had all kinds of party favors and everything. Well, 3 of us rode in the band truck. We had one of those band trucks. There's a bivouac body on it, 16-foot bivouac body. And then I was driving, keyboard player was in the passenger seat, and then we took a milk crate, put it in the middle and put pillows on it for another person to ride. So it was 3 of us in the truck. Well, the keyboard player decided he was going to take one of those balloons with us. So we get in the truck, we get about halfway down the mountain. He decides he's tired. So he takes that balloon and he puts it over on the side of his head and leans it up against the window like a pillow. Well, the guy sitting in the middle his old shoulders started shaking like that. And he was a big practical joker. He looked up on the tray right there in the middle, and there was a safety pin sitting up on the tray. And he goes, he goes, I said, I knew what he was going to do. And I said, just give it 5 more minutes, make sure he's asleep. I mean, you know, just give it good. So we, you know, it's, 2 o'clock in the morning, we're coming down the mountain. And all of a sudden he takes that safety pin, straightens it out, and reaches over there and pops that balloon. And I'm telling you, I mean, it temporarily deafened me. Now I can't imagine what the keyboard player was going through. Well, he wakes up stunned looking. Next thing I know, starts cussing, yelling, all this kind of stuff. Well, they start scrapping in the truck. And I pulled the truck over, opened the passenger door, leaned over both of them, opened the passenger door. Next thing I know, they're down in the ditch, waddling, going at it, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just like kind of laughing for a minute. And I kind of let it go on for about a minute. They were all on top of each other. They weren't really swinging fists or anything like that. But the prettiest
Keyboard
thing
players
was,
won't do that.
the prettiest thing was when I pulled them apart, they were in the ditch. So there was mud all over them. Oh yeah, we had to ride home from the mountains like that at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was classic, absolute classic. I got a bunch of those. I could tell you 100 of them, but that one in particular sticks out for sure.
Well, we're going to get a few more. And I like the funny ones. You know, we have the horrible ones. Like I said, we laugh back at the ones now. And of course, the good thing there, like your keyboard player breaks his hand, you're in trouble. You know, now I got one with a sound company. I'm not going to name the company or the person, but it's a guy I've known for 25 years. And one of his worst, he got paid, but this was a festival. And this was a hip hop festival when they first started. It was probably about 3,000 people in the audience. Promoter in the middle decides, I'm going to pay you half.
I've been there.
No contracts, you know, handshakes, no whatever. I'm going to pay you half because that's really all we made in profit. And the guy says, no, you can pay me all of it. I'm going to turn the system off and I'm packing up and going home. You have to know this guy. I'll tell you probably who it is at some point. And guy said, fine. So he goes back in the office, comes back out, drags the sound man onto the stage, in the center of the stage, in the spotlight, and counts out $3,000 in cash and hands it to him in front of the entire audience. So the guy goes back to his post. It's just him and one other guy there together. And he's sweating the rest of the night, watching his back, watching everybody else realize he got 3,000 in cash on him. At the end of the night, luckily, a police officer came up to him at the end of the night and said, I want to escort you to your car. Because he said, I've already overheard 5 people say what they're going to do to you when you leave. All right, Mike, well, give it a run, because I was racking my brain trying to think of one.
Yeah, I would say when you front the band, but it really doesn't matter if you front the band or not. It could be any member of the band. When you go to different shows, the audience, when they get riled up and everything, they get a little riled up. So
now, Mike, you don't get an audience riled up, do you?
Riled up. So
that doesn't happen.
That's part of the aim. We want to get you excited. We want you excited. That's part.
That's all Mike knows how to do.
Oh, well, so
you're a natural, Mike.
I'm out front singing, and there's not many people alive who don't admire attention when attention's given. That's part of what it is. But at the same time,
we're all guilty.
If you could all have a button to push on whose attention you got, it would be wonderful. But okay, so I'm performing, and then all of a sudden this guy comes up to the front of the stage, right? So the guy comes to the front of the stage, and I'm in the middle of a song. Me and Cricket are performing. We're acting crazy like we always do. Okay, so then this guy starts winking at me. So I'm like, what is going on up in here? So then he dips back to the crowd, but these 2 girls come up beside him, and so they want to they sit there just grooving out with him because we're having a good time. It's crazy. But then he sticks out his tongue. So I'm like uncomfortable by this point, because I'm like, what in the world? So I'm not knowing what exactly is going to happen, because, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. But at the same time, you can sort of gauge yourself on females. But, some guys you like think, this guy might be able to just do whatever. So I duck down to the crowd, and I run between the crowd, and I just run around the crowd, and then I run back up on stage to get around this guy. Me and Cricket are just laughing our tails off. It wasn't a scary moment nor a serious moment, but we took it kind of like a humorous kind of situation that took place at a show we had, and we talked about it. Probably 2 or 3 shows later, we kept talking about it. We bring it up every now and then and just laugh about stuff like that. But we've had those kind of instances where things can get, crazy, but it's good, and it's all a part of everything's going on, because there was nothing, like I said, there was nothing out of the way. Everything was handled. Everything was good. It was nothing, that could have went any kind of way. But it was just an interesting situation, and I know there's many of those that I could also tell about, certain situations. Yep. I guess all musicians can, but I just thought that was kind of crazy. It was a weird night, but
well, like Alan said too, we're older. We got a little more experience with that. When we take some of the younger kids out with us that haven't played a lot of those shows, you can see the look on their face the first time they play jacks.
Right.
That's a different experience.
That is an enjoyable experience. It's fun. That is incredibly fun.
All right, Alan, what's your other one? You got another one. I know you got another one.
As you get older, you want to pack it up, get it in the car, and get home. When you were younger, you never wanted to go home.
Right.
That's why people always ask me, "Hey, you want to come to the party after the show?" I'm like,
"Yeah." And then you just
we don't party after the show.
No. And then back then you would go to the next job, and home might be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday before you get back home. Now we all want to get home because we are older. Oh, there's all kinds. The thing that most people don't know that happens with bands, and I tell this story a lot, or a story like it, is we're out in Barry. Well, we all can. We're all out late at night, and there is a whole nother culture that is out late at night that you see in the quickie marts and places. And in the older days, in Barry, this also, there were sheets on every corner. There was mom and pop type 24-hour marts that you stopped in, and you would stop in the same ones all the time. And you knew you were on the road a lot when they called you by your first name when you walked in the door.
Right.
The people that worked there, they knew who you were.
Yeah.
And that's one that used to get me when I tell people these stories, because people that go out, they don't do this like we do. They don't stay out 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the mornings. And it's rarely we get home 5 or 6 anymore because we just routing is much better now than it used to be years ago.
Well, we can cover a little bit of that too,
Give me a
because,
minute.
you know, COVID is changing that. And you and I have talked a little bit about what's happening with the bar scene right now and the places that we're still talking to who have started to understand what we've been saying for about 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
That the 12:30 to 2 a.m. crowd is not necessarily your money crowd and is more than likely your trouble crowd.
Yes.
And as we have moved bands back to 9 o'clock, run them to 12 and have the DJ take over for a half an hour or 45 minutes or whatever to run people out the door, bars are finding that's actually a better schedule for them for live music. And I hope that sticks because obviously it's better for us, but I think it's better for a lot of our clientele too.
I agree with that because they were talking about that late night crowd is the one that's destructive. They're the ones that's breaking the beer bottles in the bathroom, tearing the bathrooms up. And it's just it takes them longer to clean up, get out. It just costs them more money. And people will come out at 9 o'clock if you start at 9 o'clock.
Exactly.
And they prove that.
Yeah. And, you know, and the key to that is always what we said is even people like us, because we don't get to see many bands, but if I'm off, we always try to go see other people and support them and check out other groups. Or if they're playing down the street from where we're playing, we walk down there. And, but even for us, you know, when you think about a cab buying some drinks, you know, paying a 2 cover charge, you spend $50 and you can stay for an hour worth of music and then you go home because you're tired. It's 11:30, 12 o'clock. You've had it. So it's nice to be able to go out and see a band and watch them start at 9 or even 7 o'clock in the evening and watch their whole show and still be able to go home in a decent hour and enjoy yourself. And I'm hoping we see more and more of that start to happen. It's one of the permanent changes I will not mind if that happens out of this. That would be a plus. Anyway.
Yeah. So years ago, you know, when you played full time, you played 4, 5, 6 times a week as much as you could. And we played a local job in Durham on a Friday night. And one of the members in the band got a little overserved that night. And so the next morning, I pick him up in the truck, pick him up heading to Gastonia. We had a 1 o'clock festival in Gastonia. And then we had to play a wedding that night in Charlotte. And I pick him up and he's moaning and groaning. He's got a little bit of a hang around going on. And he said, man, you need to pull through Hardee's or something and get me something to eat. I'm like, okay. So we go through Hardee's and he gets one of those nasty gravy biscuits, just loaded with gravy. And so we get about Greensboro and he starts moaning about he's got to use the bathroom. I said, well, man, we're already running late. We got a 1 o'clock hit and as it is, even with sound provided, we're going to be pushing it. He's like, all right. So we finally get about Charlotte and all of a sudden traffic stops. We get in a wreck, traffic stops absolutely in the middle of the summer, sitting in a band truck, 90 degrees outside. And I look over at him, he's green looking, he's moaning and groaning. And he goes, man, look, I don't really know what to do, but you need to pull over. I said, man, we can't pull over. We got to go. We're running late. Next thing I know, he bails out of the truck and he goes, I'll see you down the road. So we're moving, maybe going 3, 4, 5 miles an hour. It's just me. And I'm going, oh my God, there's my other lead singer that has bailed out of the truck and is heading for the woods. And sure enough, about 10 minutes later, I look in the rearview mirror and here he comes. Catching up with the truck. He caught up with us. I'm not going to tell you the details of how he used the bathroom, but regardless, he caught up with us. We got on site at 5 till 1, and we were playing by 10 after. That's how quickly we set up stage gear. But I still have that image of me looking in that big rearview mirror of that bivouac, of that truck, that E350 Econoline Ford truck, and here he comes jogging up the highway.
Things may appear larger in the mirror than there's only one thing that will make that story any better, and that would be poison ivy.
Yeah, well,
Just
We
gonna throw
didn't
it
get
out
into
there.
all those details, except he said he got it taken care of.
Or a snake.
Lord,
Hey, and one
True
thing you learn
story.
in the band life is you do what you got to do the way you got to do it,
that's it, man.
when you got to do it.
That's
You
it.
get it done.
He wasn't green. He was gray looking, but he wasn't green anymore. So funny.
All right, Alan, let's try to get you back in here with the next
Okay.
one.
We had played a wedding reception in Myrtle Beach, and we were on the way home. And I can't think of the name. I think the town was Fair Bluff. And we came around and you cross that little bridge, and it's a real narrow 2-lane road before you get to Laurinburg. And all of a sudden there's fire trucks, rescue, police, and there we are. Well, we're pulling a trailer. There was no way we could back up and turn around. It was impossible. And we're sitting there and we're sitting there. And finally, one of the firemen walked up and I said, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" He said, "Guy ran off the side of the road and ran down into the creek. It wasn't a river, it was a creek." And I said, "Well, any way we can get out of here?" I said, "We live 2 hours away." And I said, "It's already like 1 o'clock." He said, "No, because he said he wasn't driving the car and we have to look for the other person." So they were all down in the bushes looking and looking. And I don't know, another half hour goes by and he comes back by the car. And I said, "Look," I said, "you know as well as I do, he was the only one in the car." He said, "Yeah, but we've got to keep looking." And I said, "You know what? I know where the guy is that you're looking for. He's in the back seat and you can take him with you if you want to." And Barry, you're like this. It was Eric, and he was having a fit. And they finally moved the fire truck and let us go. But oh my gosh, just riding up and down the road, what you run into.
Now, see, I would think that the hip pocket stories were far more interesting than the holiday stories. Would that be a
the
good
issue
assumption?
is we didn't ride with those guys that much
Right.
after a while. It was, they went their way and us other 4 or 5, we rode together. So, and I drove, so we came home.
Yeah, and that's I won't name the
we didn't get
band, but there's a
lost in
band.
the shuffle somewhere.
There's a band we talk about quite often that is the Never Ride Together band. If there's 10 people in the band that night, they show up in 10 cars. It's
Oh yeah.
they just don't do it. And the rest of us are so inbred, we're always in the same car together. Although usually me driving, I just enjoy driving, so it doesn't bother me. Anyway.
That's 3/4.
So you live in and out of each other's. Well, exactly. I think so too, man. I'll be honest with you. And this is why I've always said, me and Alan have this discussion all the time about band stories. We're about to give away one of our secrets, but I don't think it's that secret if you're in the industry. We always go out and we audition people for the bands, or I find people. And I have to tell the story about how I found Mike, because I think that's a great story.
Yes.
But you find people based on 2 things: their personality, their ability to entertain, and whether or not you think you can get the hell along with them for 20 hours straight, because that is probably the most important thing in this industry, above even their ability to play or sing. I've had the greatest musicians in my group and had the biggest problems. And I've had the greatest entertainers in my group and had a ball. And the audience has a ball. We all have a ball. We all party. We all have a great time. As long as I have those people and they're easygoing. So that's my first wedding story. We did a job at Altamont Farms, Richard Petty used to own. Had a big stage, big barn, and the stage actually moved. The whole stage was on rollers and moved. It was huge. We were told to set up, did our sound check, everything finished. We said, well, okay, we'll see y'all when it's time to play. We're going to go to our room. And they said, well, wait a minute. You can't leave. I said, well, what do you mean? I said, the wedding is on the stage, the same stage you're on. So you got to move all of your equipment. You got to move all of your gear and get it off the stage so that I said, wait a minute, we got to what? So, well, and the staff has gone home. There's only one person here with the venue. All the physical labor has gone home. And that's when I said, okay, I'm glad I have friends in my band that get along. I got my entertainers and my good guys and girls, and I got some of the hardest working girls in this industry as well. I said, we're going to push our stuff back on the back half of this stage. We're going to move those curtains. We're going to do all the work, and we're going to push this stage ourselves, and we're going to move the damn stage. We're going to move the stage back, and I'm going to give you half the stage to have your wedding on. And then when this is done, we're going to push that whole stage forward again and move our 2 light trees and the microphones, and we're going to play. I say, because I'm not going to spend an hour and a half between the wedding and because I got those kind of guys, because I've got that kind of band, we pulled that wedding off. As a matter of fact, not only did we pull that wedding off, we slammed that wedding, and that lady hired us 3 more times
At least.
for 2 family members and a campaign gala. And so attitude means everything in this industry. I swear, it's hard not to be flexible. And especially right now, it's hard to walk around and complain. You have to just do what you got to do, get it done, make it work. And, you know, and I'm thankful.
There's a term
Yep.
for that. There's a term for that. It's
Yes.
it's called bandsmanship.
Yeah, exactly.
We came up with it years ago. I don't care what kind of musician you are. If you don't have the correct bandsmanship, you're not a part of the team.
And you're probably sitting at home. I mean, to be honest with you, we talk about this a lot, that we know a lot of really great musicians I would hire, musicians that I am a big fan of and admire their technique and their playing. And I don't want them to see themselves in this statement, but you know, if I hate it, but if you're stuck in your own head as a musician sometimes and you don't have that bandmanship, you probably won't work as much as people who smile. And, you know, like I said, I got the best guys and I got the best girl. I mean, you know, I have to shout out to my wife, Cricket, works as hard as anybody. I've never seen her not lift something, tote something, or run some light cable, or she's usually walking around and sweating and running and going crazy more than anybody else because she worries about it. And you like having those kind of people, because I know I'm in the position as a band leader. When I show up, I can go deal with a client. I can go do what I need to do. And everybody in my band's going to do their job. It's going to get done. It's going to get done correctly. And I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to have any stress on it. I know when I come back, everything's fixed. Now, you know, I'm an asshole sometimes. Like Alan said, every band's got to have one. And sometimes you got to be that guy, but it's rare. It's very rare that I have to ever say or do anything. And if I have to say anything to somebody a lot, chances are they won't be with us for too long.
Get Michael's story, how you found Michael.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Thanks for reminding me. That's a good one, because we were only a 5-piece band for a while. And, you know, what you discover, I think, when you're a 4 or 5-piece band, you can do some gigs. And there's a lot of people that are going to interpret you as a rock band. Now, I do believe that was much worse 6 to 8 years ago. And Barry can chime in on this as an agent, because he'll know he's been with the change from the shift, you know, from soul and beach bands and variety bands over to party bands, which we talk about a lot of how that shift kind of happened with the hip pocket era. And variety bands kind of came up big after that. And we came from a bar band, it was a rock band, that kind of transitioned into a more variety band. And I would say we're finally getting to be a true variety band. I mean, I'm playing 90s rock. I'm you know, and we're finding that with the guys we talk to and girls we talk to in all these other groups that play the same sort of stuff we do, that they're all sort of getting to be true variety bands, because it's just good music. Good music's good music. And as long as you play it and people have fun with it and sing along or dance, you do it. So one of our tricks has always been go to karaoke nights. Now, you know how hit or miss this can be. Now, the great thing about karaoke nights is you're going to drink, you're going to have fun, and you're going to be entertained one way or the other, whether it's horrible or whether it's great. It's still going to be entertaining. So we would spend all our Thursdays and Fridays we were not playing out at local karaoke parties, just kind of psyching stuff out. We were a 5-piece band. We wanted to be 6. Didn't know yet if we were going to be a horn band. You and I were talking about, should we add more beach music? Should we not? Where's the market going? And we were sitting at Applebee's in Burlington one night. And this was always we just kind of phoned this one. We figured this was always a night where we were just going to be laughing at how bad everybody was. But they were bad in a good way. They were having fun, having a good time, and doing their thing. And I forget, I at some point, I got kind of tuned out and was on my phone, just messing. And I thought that, I swear, and I've told Mike this story several times, I thought the DJ had stepped away and had just put PYT on by Michael Jackson. I thought he had just put the recording on and walked away, took a break, gone to the bathroom. And Cricket's just about to put a bruise on my upper arm, clocking me, telling me to look up from my phone. And I'm like, what? And I look up and there's Mike, and Mike's singing PYT. And I looked at Cricket and I said, that's not possible. Not in Applebee's, North Carolina, Burlington. That's not, no, there's no way. And I said, well, now I can either send myself over there or I can send a pretty blonde over there. So I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to send a pretty blonde over there. And I said, I tell you what, you asked him 2 questions. Is he in a band? You got any interest in being in a band? I said, if he answers either one of those questions, if he answers the first one, yes, or the second one, no, say, thank you for talking to me. Good night, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I said, because there's no way, right? She came back over and goes, he ain't in no band. Said, he really wants to be in one. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way that guy's not singing with somebody already. So we pulled him into one show, New Year's Eve, the Warehouse in Virginia. We pulled him into one show and had him sing Billie Jean. And it turned the place out. I mean, well, first of all, the guy's a natural. That's what I got to say about it. The guy's a natural. He is a natural entertainer, performer. He loves people. He loves doing it. And that comes across. So even if he couldn't sing, I probably would have still hired him anyway. But the fact that he could get up there and he did the Michael Jackson moves and he did the voice and he did the everything else. When he came off the stage that night, I'm like, dude, you got it. It's yours if you want it. And the second story with Mike is one night he was going to be late to a show, which now this is rare for Mike. He's only missed one show in 6 years and he's only been late to one other show. And that show was because he had a family affair, which I agreed with. He was supposed to attend. And we called out of the blue. I'd been a huge Booty fan for years. I mean, I'd been following Booty every time they played, you know, and that was back when their front line was phenomenal. It was Henry and Johanna and Dana and Terry, Pippa. And I just reached out to Pippa. I'd never talked to her before. Said, you know, I admire your work. I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing. You did in Booty and everything. I don't know if you're singing anymore, and I don't know if you even want to. I said, but I got a gig coming up. I need some coverage on at the beginning of the night. I could pay you for it, and I'd love you to have you come down and sing a few songs with us. And she said, yeah. And we got Terry down there, and I forgot what you guys sang, Mike, but you guys sang a song together, and it was fireworks. And I think at the end of that night, we went back to the whole band and we went, it's time to be a 7-piece. We got to get her in here. And so that's my other story with you. You had a way of bringing those other people to us as well. You know, it kind of, once you start making the right decisions, you get some of the right people. Other people kind of want to jump in and be a part of it. And we started having that front line now, which sometimes I actually have to stop playing and watch our front line because it's entertaining.
Yeah, when it comes to Terry, Cricket, and myself, even you, Mike, on the front line, because I love those girls. Terry and Cricket, they are just gems of their own. They hold their own. They're like sisters. I love them to pieces. If
it is family.
They're going to be late or possibly not going. You know, anything could happen when they're possibly not there. It changes my whole mood. I'm like, oh my god, here we go. But
and we still do it. We still do it.
Chemistry. It's like a chemistry. If you have a whim and a wham, and then the wham ain't there or whatever, then the other wham that comes is good also. But just like the chemistry you have with that one, when you know when they automatically hit on something that you might miss, or they automatically jumped in when you didn't even expect them to, always got you back kind of thing. It's one of those kind of things that I love so much about the band.
Thank my guests. Thank Mr. Barry Herndon up there, East Coast. Thank Mr. Alan Brantley up there, our sound guy, and Mike over there, brother. You know, me and Mike will be back in a couple of weeks. We'll do something else and talk to some more people, and we're going to get some more stories on here, or we may do some other stuff. We don't know. This is kind of free form at the moment. You may begin, subscribe to the channel because it's going to go up. Go down below, give us your comments, give us your ideas. Maybe there's something you want to talk about or want us to cover, or maybe you'd even like to do a Q&A with us, and we'll let people in one by one to do some question and answers. That'd be fun too. Anyway, thanks guys. I know everybody's got I'm not going to time this and say a football game to get to, but I think everybody's got a football game to get to, correct?
That's it.
That's right. All right. So y'all take care. Fans, if you are our fans, if you're not our fans yet, please become our fans. Follow our Facebook, follow our Instagram.
Yeah, we love you guys.
We got a lot of news. Yeah, we got a lot of news coming out this year. We're going to have more music coming out this year. Me and Mike are writing more stuff. If you're into that, we're going to do some cover tune stuff as well. Got a lot of shows coming up, knock on wood. We'll be out there again, and we'll be out there heavy. So peace, everybody. Take
Thank you,
care.
Mike. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank
You
you.
better, bye, Alan. Mike,
On the
Mike.
road.